Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com. In this video, we're going to take a look at sets in Kotlin. A set is a data container that only stores unique objects. Let's take a look at an example. So if I say val fruits, and I can create a set here that just has strings in it. And to do that, I'll just use set of, which is the simplest option. And there we have to supply some values. Let's put in, actually I'm going to start with an orange, and we'll have a banana, and we'll have an apple. And to show you that sets store unique values, let's put in there another orange. I'll make this font a tiny bit smaller so you can see it. So what have we actually stored? Well, we can iterate over sets. So let's say for fruit in fruits, and then we'll just use print line here to print out each of these fruits. Let's run it, and you can see in there we've got orange, banana, apple. In fact, you can see that even more easily if I just do print line and I use the built-in toString method to just print the whole thing in one go. So if I look at this, here we can see by the brackets that we've got some kind of list of things. It is actually a set though, and you can see we've only stored the unique values. So one of the things sets are particularly good for is if you've got a bunch of values, they're not unique, you've got duplicates in there, and you want just the unique values out of your whole list of objects. Now, it is possible to get the index of items in your sets. Let's just duplicate this, and I'm going to do index of, and we'll pick one of the items that's definitely in there, like apple. And if I run that, we do actually get some value back. The reason this is possible is because index of is implemented in the iterable interface, and to make sets iterable, they've implemented that interface for sets, so we can iterate over them. But you shouldn't really think of the items in a set as existing at a particular location, at least not for this default kind of set, because the basic kind of set in Kotlin is not ordered. Whatever order it happens to be in, that order is not guaranteed to remain the same. And relying on the order in a set is one of the few ways that you could possibly create an intermittent bug in Kotlin. So you always have to remember that the basic kind of set does not store things in any particular order. Now this set is immutable. However, we can create mutable sets. Let's say val people equals mutable set of. So it's just like with list, and we can put some people in there. Let's have a couple of people, and we'll print it out. And the value of mutable set is that, of course, we can add and remove items from it. So I could now say, for example, people.remove, and we could remove Bob, and we could also say people.add, and we could add Rita. Let's take a look at this. So there we've got Sue and Rita in the set. If I add a duplicate Rita, that's not going to have any effect because the set's not going to store duplicates. We've still only got Sue and Rita in there. It is possible, however, to have an ordered set. And to create an ordered set, there are two possibilities. Let's create a set of numbers. Let's say val numbers equals, and now I'll use sorted set of, and we'll put some numbers in there. So you could also do this with strings or other items, subject to a constraint that I'm going to discuss shortly. So I'll put a bunch of numbers in there, and then I'll do print line numbers. Let's run that. So sorted sets actually sort things in order. It's actually something that in Java we would call a tree set. It disregards the order that you added things in and sorts these items in whatever their default sorting order is, which with integers is just numerical order. Sometimes you want your set to keep things in the order that you added it in, and that's also possible. Let's create a set called values, and by the way, you can only have one type of thing in a set, so whatever you add to your set, it has to be a compatible type with what's already in there. Here I'm going to create a linked set, and let's put some values in there like 1.1, 9.8, whatever we like in here, in any kind of order. Let's have 0.0 as well. Then I'll print this, and when we run that, we find that the items stay in the order that I added them in. A linked set has links connecting the items so that they stay in a fixed order. Let's try adding a value to it, because sorted set and linked set are both mutable sets. The only one that isn't mutable here is the set we get if we just use set of. All of these others are mutable sets. So if I say values.add, let's try 9.8 again, and let's run that. You can see that that's had no effect, because although a linked set does store things in the order that you add them, it still doesn't store duplicates. The whole purpose of a set really is to store things without duplicates. And sets also have union and intersection methods, which you'll be familiar with probably from sort of basic mathematics. So we can create the union of two sets, which combines into a single set all the elements from the two sets. And we can create the intersection, which just creates a set that contains elements that are common to the two sets you've specified. What happens if we try to put people, which here is actually strings, and values together in the same set? Let's say val stuff equals, I'll pick one of those sets, so let's maybe pick values, and we'll say union, and then we'll supply another set, I'll supply people, and then we'll print stuff and see what we've got in there. Let's run it. And you can see it has successfully done that. It's created the union of two sets that actually contain totally different types of things. This set is just going to be a set of any, because remember, any is at the top of the class hierarchy. So if we create a set that can contain any, we can put any kind of object in there. But the disadvantage is that makes it hard to manipulate the objects in your set. You can't call specific methods on them unique to those particular objects very easily. So in general, you would want to avoid combining sets that contain completely different things. That's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how you can add objects of your own custom classes to sets. And that's also going to be useful in the context of maps. Until next time, happy coding.